welcome back to Find Your Alpha podcast. I've got with me today a games and animation developer. His name is Dedren Snead, all the way from the United States, Atlanta, Georgia. He's here to talk about games, development, innovation, technology, all that jazz. Let me welcome you to Find Your Alpha podcast.
Oh, pleasure, Ruki. Thank you so very much.
Yeah. It's good to. First of all, your hat's really cool.
Thank you.
And so are your dreads. You're rocking like a rock star look.
Thank you. In all this culture and talent and coolness, to have any opportunity to stand out is appreciated. So thank you so much.
And how did you get into games and animation? Which one came first, or did they sort of start at the same time?
It's a good question. I think they all kind of came from just a passion of story. So I'll say that I always was a writer to start off with. The idea of like getting a good story out, but how could I share it with more and more people? Was the space of working in comics, working in animation, eventually games, was because I didn't see myself. I didn't see people that looked like me, didn't see stories that were from myself.
Representative of you.
Exactly.
Right.
So that made me want to make my own, and just slowly but surely, self-taught, went and did some schooling, and eventually just learned how to make.
So you came from the comic life, or you were very engrossed in like reading comics and stuff
That's
like
right.
that. It's very interesting when you mention story, because I don't think that people really appreciate how much storytelling plays in making games, and also, I mean, in the animation part of it. And how much of the skills as a filmmaker you need to have to be able to make animation stories that, or whether they're action or whatever it is, that actually makes sense.
That makes
Because
sense.
I mean, it's animation, but at the same time, you still have the composition rules. You still have the rule of thirds. You still have, the frame rules. You have all the rules that apply to a motion picture, for instance. It's just that it's in animation, and those key aspects still play hand in hand. So I think I'm going to ask you, like, with regards to the story aspect of of games and animation, maybe even games, like how does that fuse together, and how do you get your creative story and idea across into games and animation?
That's great. It's a great question. I think what we're looking at now is this new space of transmedia,
Right.
where we're seeing the visual, the print, the interactive all being synonymous in the same way. So the same way that we tell stories, the way that we share stories is being exponentially built and developed, but also still remaining intimate at the same time. So it goes to right what you said. You still have to have the basic rules of storytelling, of narrative, of challenging and inviting people to be a part of that creative journey. What I'm loving right now is just the space of innovation. That technology is just really empowering and emboldening a new generation that don't know the limits of the previous creators. So, for example, you can create something right here in this podcast that can reach the entire world, can live on and be a resource for millions with just a modest amount of equipment and the right storyteller.
Right.
And so for me, looking at gaming, that barrier to entry that was so high when I first started, now we can make those same games in days. What would take years to have made a multitude of people in a larger budget. So that gives us the capacity. I think what makes the innovation most exciting is that the storytellers that may have been marginalized, may have been underrepresented, now have that new canvas for new stories. So that's exciting for all of us. That means that the games that we've never played before are now being created.
Yeah.
And the stories, the images, the art, the film that we haven't seen before, all of that's underway. So now it's just such an exciting time to be a content creator, but also just a lover of story.
There's this conversation around culture and heritage, and you stated that when you first got into the game, you didn't see people that looked like you, or stories that represented you. How important is the interplay of culture in this new age technology? Of course, now you've got AI that can generate stuff for you without you even having to do much, But I think that a lot of communities now are going back to reiterating what their culture is about, and even sort of strengthening the identity that they have as a people, regardless of what they're consuming or not. So for you as a person of color, in the space that you play in. I mean, you're here in Nigeria. Perhaps you're looking at collaborations that you can also, sort of tap into, and opportunities that you can tap into here in the Nigerian or African market. How important is the culture interplay in preserving, in promoting, in encouraging people to embrace their cultural identity, even in the gaming and animation space?
No, absolutely. So as we look at gaming, comics, and animation, and how they're all intersected with technology, I think that culture is the absolute most important component in this new digital space of innovation. Because when we all have those same tools, it will be to the stories, it will be to the people, it will be to the interactions that make one thing unique and one thing just generative.
Right.
And so, as you brought up the tools of like generative AI and large language models, as that those tools haven't included us.
Right.
So that gives us an advantage in being able to create unique stories in a time where an amazing commodity.
Right.
So for me, being culturally appreciative and cognizant of where I am as a person of color, as an African American, as someone in the African diaspora, that's why I'm here in Lagos and in Nigeria and across the continent.
Right.
Is looking at how to likewise share stories and experiences with fellow creators in that diaspora, so that we can together make our dreams come true.
Awesome, awesome. And I guess final question would be, what makes you alpha?
I think what makes if I had to think what makes me alpha now, I'd love to have you qualify as it goes.
Exactly. I was going
Fair
to
enough.
qualify it. I'm not saying, when people come and say I'm an alpha male, I'm an alpha male, I'm an alpha female. I'm saying, what is that thing in you that makes you alpha? That makes you feel like I'm on top of the world. I can do whatever. I can accomplish whatever I set my mind to. I can chart new waters. I can create new opportunities for myself and the people around me. What is the thing or the things that you think make you alpha?
I think what makes me alpha at this space of my creative journey is that I can clearly see my future. I can see that the way that I can utilize technology, the way I can connect and collaborate across the world, and really that the stories that I have matter, and that the future is made up of stories like mine. And so being able to build authentically and unapologetically in the spaces that I want to be, that is tangible, as palpable as the next breath. And so I see it as just within reach. So I'm very encouraged by not only my own path, but the path of those around me. So I can simply see my future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dedren Snead.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for joining me on Find Your Alpha podcast. It's been really lovely speaking with you. I wish you all the best. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.